What's going on, guys? Asian Guy here, bringing you the updated information for the GERMA66 batch of 5 plus and 6 plus super evolutions. Now, most of these are essentially side grades instead of upgrades, depending on how you look at it. Let's begin with Judge. Most of these units are all powerhouse fighters, other than Reiju, who is a cerebral powerhouse, I believe, and Judge, who is a driven powerhouse, and you will see that reflected in Judge's new special. But let's begin with his captain ability. He will boost the appearance of in orbs, reduce damage taken by 15%, and boost HP of crew by 1.25 times. This is essentially exactly the same as normal 6-star Judge, but instead of psi orbs, he now boosts the appearance of in orbs. However, as an additional effect, he now makes badly matching orbs count as beneficial for all units, which is actually a huge buff in my opinion, but you'll see how this is balanced out in the special in a moment. If you have every single type color in your crew, boost attack of all units by 3.9375 times, that's a mouthful, with a matching orb, 2.25 times otherwise, which is exactly the same as the original 6-star Judge. Now, his special will reduce damage taken by 30% for 2 turns, boost the attack of powerhouse driven fighter by 2 times for 1 turn. So he now boosts the attack instead of boosting orbs, and he doesn't boost for everyone, he only boosts for powerhouse, driven and fighter types, which you can tell is not as good as a universal boost, because previously his orb boost was a universal boost you could run in on anyone, and he will boost 2 times orbs for everybody and anybody. If Judge is the captain or friend captain, change all orbs into in, including block, which is a superb special. I think that's fantastic. They got rid of the RNG part and they just made it full on. It will change all the orbs into in. Now, all of the units that are in this have the Sayer ability, which makes int count as beneficial to them if they are not an int type themselves. Obviously, Judge is the only int type here, but his special is, of course, also missing the reduced bind by 7 turns, which is kind of interesting. Instead, it is now reduced damage taken by 30%. Now, a few people have said this is bad. In my opinion, having your captain having the bind removal in the first place is not very good, because most of the time when you get binded by someone or something, it's normally on the captain, so it's kind of counterproductive. I'm absolutely a-okay with that, and I also believe this will make team building around him a little bit easier. Sometimes when you have too many options, it can be a little bit confusing, although I always do think that having more options is better than having little options. But now you are able to craft your team around a specific kind of type, or class I should say, powerhouse, driven or fighter types, but most likely powerhouse and driven. Now, his driven classes and driven type I should say or his driven team, sorry, beg your pardon, have clearly improved with this. This is clearly driven towards a driven team or a driven meta, which is kind of interesting. I want to see if driven batches in the future will get a buff. For example, the Dofi V2 batch, imagine them getting all 5 pluses and 6 plus side grades, and maybe they change from driven into cerebral, or they just stay as cerebral driven, and those kind of memes aside. It will be very interesting to see what exactly happens. Now, as I've said before, any captain that gives a boost and changes all orbs, including block, into the beneficial orb or the correct orb that you need or you want, the desirable orb, is a superb captain, because it's a powerful captain. He has everything: tanking, increased orb rate, he has an insane attack multiply, 3.9375, and most of the time you're going to have a pretty good chance of having beneficial orbs or matching orbs just flat out. However, the 2.25 times of course is a way of balancing him out, but of course tanky and damage reduction all in one captain is pretty damn insane. His special again also has damage reduction for 2 turns, which also helps with tanking. Like, the only example I can think of where we've recently had bind was Jinbei on the Neptune Coliseum, if I'm not mistaken, and on that stage when Jinbei binds you, he binds the captain anyway, so it's not really that big of a deal. I believe he binds the captain, maybe not the captain. He binds your crew and then he binds your captain on the 3rd turn, and when that happens you just end up tanking hits instead, so it's not too big of a deal. Bind is not a real debuff we've seen for a long time now. More so attack down is what we really see. But moving away from Judge, let's move on to Reiju. Now, Reiju, powerhouse and fighter is what I put here, but I believe she's actually a powerhouse cerebral or a fighter cerebral type. We'll have to wait and see. She is a psi type, and now these captain abilities are very interesting. Boost attack of psi units by 2.25 times, and powerhouse by 1.4 times, and the recovery of powerhouse by 1.2 times. The attack boosts do stack, so if you have psi powerhouse units, the attack boost is a 3.15 times, which is pretty dang high for just the standard rare recruit, given though it is a 5+. She is, of course, now going to be working with Sayo in. All of these units now work with Sanji, which is pretty cool. 6+, not 6+, oops, leaked. 6-star Sanji, who is of course an in, and of course it's canon that they basically all teamwork with Sanji now. So it's pretty cool to see that. But if your captain is Sayo in, reduces attack down and special silence by 3 turns and inflict toxic on all enemies, and this maxes at 500,000 at the max cap, and it starts at 20 times Reiju's attack. Now this is pretty insane. Reduces attack down and special silence, I believe, is the same special as Shirahoshi, the Dex rare recruit Shirahoshi, which is a super good rare recruit special. And of course with this on Reiju as a Sai unit as well, this is absolutely superb too. If your captain, beg your pardon, is a powerhouse, boost the attack by 1.75 times against enemies that have toxic applied. Now this is a self-conditional booster, which is so good. We're getting more of those into the game now, which is pretty damn awesome. The one downside is that any enemy that has a debuff protector cannot have toxic inflicted on them, but just having this extra additional 1.75 times attack boost means you have all the damage in the world to do to anyone that has no debuff protection. And most likely, most of the time, this special is intended for the mini boss stage, because these kind of debuffs you do get on the mini boss stage a lot as well, and having that extra 1.75 times is very nice as well, especially also with getting these days too, on top of that, a lot more resilience buffs for the enemy, and of course toxic can penetrate the resilience and kill them at the end of the turn, which is also another way of seeing Reiju. Overall, the best rare recruit batch, or the best rare recruit unit I should say, out of this entire batch in my opinion. Next up we have got Ichiji. All of these units have basically the same captain ability except for their respective types. 3.5 times attack and 1.2 times HP, 2 powerhouse units. Of course Reiju is recovery. Now Ichiji, I have to say, his artwork, and Reiju as well, and judge all of their artwork, can I just say once again, I did mention in my previous video talking about the GERMA66, but these artworks, Danke Bandai, absolutely bellissimo. They're so beautiful. They're actually so beautiful. Now, Ichiji's special, if your captain is a quick or in, so he now synergizes with the new Gear 4 version 2 Luffy. Quick or in boost orbs for all units by 2 times for 1 turn. So it's a universal orb booster, and you can fit him on that team. Also on a Tesoro team as well. If your captain is a powerhouse character, reduce increased damage taken debuff to your team by 3 turns. Now, we have seen this in a few pieces of content. I believe you do find this in Colosseum Kid, and we also had it in Kaiboa. Outside of that, not that useful so far, but I do believe in the future we're probably going to have this debuff a lot more. Limited rare recruit Tashigi being one of the main units to actually get rid of this. I believe limited rare recruit Moria also gets rid of this debuff as well, but it's very nice that we have a flat out rare recruit that can just do it now. That is not necessarily a limited rare recruit unit. So interesting to see where this will come in handy. Of course the orb boost is very nice, but that aside, he only does an orb boost. And then of course that debuff, you know, it's not much. Now I realize I did say reduce increased damage take. That's correct. That's a little bit confusing because I read it originally as reduce damage taken, which doesn't make sense. But you guys understand what debuff I'm talking about. It's the Black Fist that you also get from using Colosseum Apu special, and also Colosseum Ideo. Both of them apply this debuff to you as well when you use their specials. So yeah. Niji, I have to say, has the best artwork of the batch, but sadly he has gone from the best unit, the best GERMA66 unit of the batch, to the worst. He is now a Dex powerhouse and fighter unit. Of course, a special boost attack of Dex units by 2.25 times, 3.15 times if it's a powerhouse and a Dex unit, and obviously powerhouse by 1.4 times. Boost the HP of powerhouse by 1.2 times. The special, if your captain is a Dex or an Int type, locks chain to 2.75 times for 2 turns, which is okay. 2 turns is not a great amount. Most of the time you're bursting on 1 turn, or you want 3 turns so it carries over to the next room. If your captain is a powerhouse character, reduce enemies attack up and enrage by 3 turns, which honestly I have to say is one of the most useless specials. If enemy has attack up or enraged, normally you just bring a damage reducer instead of trying to reduce 3 turns of that, because most of the time they have like 7, 8, 9 or 10 turns of attack up or enrage. It's not that big of a deal. I believe this is probably to combat Cracker, Raid Cracker that's incoming. But aside from that, very disappointed in Niji. I was excited for him the most. He definitely looks the coolest out of all of them, in my opinion, along with Ichiji. And then last and definitely least, in my heart, last and definitely least, but by all means, in terms of the game state, last but not least, it's freaking Yonji. Now, obviously you guys have known or seen that Yonji is probably my most pulled rare recruit. I had enough to rainbow 3 Yonjis after like 2 sugo-fest consecutively, and he has traumatized me. Unfortunately, I don't have 2 rainbowed Yonjis. I have 1 rainbowed Yonji, and I sold all of the other ones into raid shop slavery, and it's just a feels bad man now, because I would like to have both of these Yonjis. Given, well, I mean, having said that, I kind of think that he's still okay. Both of them are not that great. He is a strength, powerhouse, and fighter unit. His special, if your captain is a strength or int type, adds 55 times character's attack as additional typeless damage in tap timing bonus, for example like Raid Sabo, Legend Inu. If your captain is a powerhouse unit, reduces enemies' % damage reduction and damage threshold by 3 turns. That, in my opinion, the second half of that, the powerhouse unit, reduces enemies' % damage reduction, damage threshold, is quite a good special. There are alternatives who do that, although I'm not sure out of strength units who actually does that, but there are definitely alternatives. And obviously the 55 times extra attack, additional tap timing is really nothing. It's negligible. It's like 300, 400k extra damage. Really nothing to be proud of, honestly. So yeah, Yonji and Niji, probably the 2 worst ones now. They did not really benefit too much from their 5+. I am a little bit disappointed with how that went. Let me know your thoughts and opinions, guys. What do you think of them? I also have to say, their new attack animations, very disappointing. Their new special animations, very, very, very disappointing. I will leave a link in the description down below to Worst Generation. They have already posted the sprites, the attack animations, the special animations, and I have to say, I am so disappointed. Ichiji's one is literally a rip of the artwork of the original 5-star Ichiji. I honestly can't believe that. I was so shocked, and disappointing from Bandai. Looks like they're trying to scrape up content together. However, I do welcome more of these kind of 5+ units in the future. I'm very much looking forward to Raid Cracker as well. I'm glad I have the full GERMA 66 batch, beg your pardon. Thank you guys for watching. Please do let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye bye.